Every morning, just as the first light brushed the horizon, the same sound echoed through the quiet neighborhood, a faint, trembling meow. It came from the front porch of Mrs. Evans' house, a small, gray cottage with white shutters and a garden full of flowers that were starting to fade in the autumn chill. There, sitting on the top step, was a cat, thin, dirty, his fur clumped together, eyes full of pleading. At first, Mrs. Evans only noticed him from behind the curtain. She was old, her husband had passed away 2 years ago, and her children lived far away. She told herself she couldn't take care of another living thing. Not now. Not again. But every day, the cat returned. He didn't just meow, he cried. Long, aching sounds that seemed to come from deep within him. When she opened the door, he'd take a few cautious steps back but never ran. His eyes said everything. It started to rain one evening. Cold, relentless rain. Mrs. Evans sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching the drops race down the glass. Then she heard it again, that soft, desperate cry. She opened the door. The cat was there, drenched and shivering, looking up at her with those same eyes. Something broke inside her then, a quiet wall she had built after losing too much. "All right, come in," she whispered. The cat hesitated, then stepped forward, slowly, as if afraid it might be a trick. He stopped just inside the door, dripping water onto the rug, and looked around as though he couldn't believe it was real. Mrs. Evans fetched a towel, warmed up some milk, and set a small blanket near the fireplace. The cat curled up instantly, closing his eyes for what looked like the first peaceful sleep in a long time. Days turned into weeks. The cat, she called him Oliver, followed her everywhere. He'd sit by her chair when she read, brush against her legs while she cooked, and sleep at her feet every night. The crying stopped completely. But one morning, she woke to find him sitting by the door again, staring outside, tail flicking slowly. She opened it for him, thinking he wanted fresh air. He stepped out, turned back once, their eyes met, and then he walked away down the garden path. She waited all day. He didn't return. The next morning, nothing. Nor the next. A week passed. She feared the worst. Then, on the 8th day, she heard it again, that faint, trembling meow. But this time, it was different. She opened the door. Oliver was there, thin again, exhausted, and behind him, 3 tiny kittens, mewing softly, following him up the steps. He wasn't a he after all. And she hadn't been begging just for herself. Mrs. Evans dropped to her knees, tears spilling down her face as she whispered, "You brought them home, didn't you?" The cat brushed her head against her hand and let out a quiet, relieved purr. From that day on, the house was never lonely again.